All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Anuja Kumar. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address 74th session of UN General Assembly in New York this evening. Meets Iranian President Hassan Rouhani. BRICS nations strongly condemn terrorism in all its forms. Call for early adoption of Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism. Filing of nominations for assembly elections in Maharashtra and Haryana to begin today with the issuance of notification. Centre approves construction of 1.23 lakh more houses under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana urban. And in hockey, India beat Belgium 2-0 in opening game of 3-match series at Antwerp in Belgium. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address 74th session of the UN General Assembly in New York tonight. The Prime Minister is likely to highlight his government's key initiatives towards poverty alleviation, affordable healthcare and steps taken to combat terrorism and climatic change. Experts say Mr. Modi's much-awaited speech is likely to focus on establishing India's aspiration at the global level apart from taking tough on terrorism emanating from Pakistan. The Prime Minister's speech at UNGA comes at a time when India is ready to play a larger role on the world stage. India has made significant improvements in almost all international rankings and indices. Briefing media ahead of Prime Minister's visit, Foreign Secretary Vijay Gokhale had said that the Prime Minister will focus on several issues, including development and climate change.
Our Prime Minister will focus on what the United Nations General Assembly's high-level segment is meant to focus, which is as important economy, as an important country, as a responsible member of the United Nations. Prime Minister will flag what we are doing for development, for security, for peace, and our expectations and aspirations of other countries.
India's permanent representative at the UN, Syed Akbaruddin, said that the country's engagement and outreach at the UN General Assembly will be unprecedented and will result in concrete, tangible, action-oriented outcomes.
India's place in the world is very different from what it was before. Even from 5 years ago, things have changed. There is a greater desire for the world and a large number of countries to engage with us more intensely. Reformed multilateralism is a persistent theme in India's approach towards international affairs.
The Prime Minister met the Iranian President Hassan Rouhani in New York last night. The two leaders discussed bilateral relations and exchanged views on regional and global developments of mutual interest. According to an official press release, the Prime Minister reiterated India's support for giving priority to diplomacy, dialogue and confidence building in the interest of maintaining peace, security and stability in the Gulf region, which is of vital importance for India. External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Ravish Kumar said the two leaders discussed bilateral cooperation and exchanged views on the situation in the region. Noting that India and Iran shared old and civilizational ties, the two leaders assessed the progress in bilateral relations since their first meeting in Russian city of Ufa in 2015. They especially mentioned overcapitalization of Chabahar port and noted its importance as gateway to and fro the landlocked Afghanistan and the Central Asian region. Prime Minister Modi also met Cyprus President Nikos Anastasiadis and Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis. Strongly condemning terrorism in all its forms, the BRICS nations of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa called for the need for an early adoption of a comprehensive convention on international terrorism, CCIT. The BRICS Ministers of Foreign Affairs and International Relations held their annual meeting on the margins of the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly. The meeting was chaired by Russia in the country's capacity as the incoming BRICS chair for 2020. An official statement issued in New York said the ministers reiterated their strong condemnation of terrorism in all its forms and manifestations, wherever, whenever, and by whomsoever committed. They expressed their conviction that a comprehensive approach is necessary to ensure an effective fight against terrorism. The ministers urged the need for concerted efforts to counter terrorism in accordance with the international law and under UN auspices, and stressed in this regard the need for early adoption of CCIT. They exchanged views on major global and regional issues on the UN agenda in the political, security, economic, financial and sustainable development spheres, as well as on intra-BRICS activities. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar met and discussed bilateral issues with his counterparts and other leaders from a number of countries, including Brazil and Japan, on the sidelines of the 74th United Nations General Assembly session in New York last night. He tweeted photographs of his meetings with Brazil's Foreign Minister Ernesto Araújo, Sierra Leone's Nabila Tunis, Ugandan Prime Minister Ruhakana Rugunda, and Latvia's Foreign Minister Edgars Rinkēvičs. The minister said India-Uganda ties are a textbook case for South-South cooperation. He said Prime Minister Modi's visit to Uganda last year was the first bilateral tour by an Indian Prime Minister since 1997. The External Affairs Minister in another tweet said he is expecting to work closely with his Japanese counterpart on India-Japan special relationship. Toshimitsu Motegi was appointed Japan's Foreign Minister earlier this month. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has condoled the death of former French President Jacques Chirac, saying India mourns the loss of a true global statesman and a friend. In a tweet, the Prime Minister said Jacques Chirac, a friend of India, played a decisive role in establishing and building India-France strategic partnership. Chirac, who supported India after it conducted nuclear tests in 1998, died yesterday at the age of 86. He served as the President of France from 1995 to 2007. For quick news updates, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts and News on AIR app. The filing of nominations for assembly elections in Maharashtra and Haryana will begin today with the issuance of notification. The last date for filing of nomination is 4th of October. The scrutiny will take place on the next day. The last date for withdrawal of nominations is 7th of October. Polling for the 288 seats in Maharashtra and 90 seats in Haryana will be held on 21st October, while the counting will take place on 24th of October. Our Mumbai correspondent takes a look at assembly elections in Maharashtra.
The main political parties in fray for the state elections are the BJP and Shiv Sena combined and the UPA, which comprises Congress, NCP and other regional parties. In the current assembly, the BJP and Shiv Sena enjoy a comfortable majority. The two parties have announced that they will enter the fray together. However, the parties are yet to sign a seat-sharing pact. Congress and the NCP have decided to contest 125 seats each, leaving the rest for smaller allies. In the 2014 elections, the BJP and Shiv Sena had contested separately, winning 122 and 63 seats respectively. The two parties had come together post-election to gain majority in the House. The Congress had won 42 seats while the NCP was restricted to 41 seats. City Jain, AR News, Mumbai.
The centre has approved the construction of 1.23 lakh more houses under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban. The 47th Central Sanctioning and Monitoring Committee approved 630 proposals from participating states for construction of 1.23 lakh houses with an overall investment of 4,988 crore rupees. An official release said the commitment from the government as central assistance will be 1,805 crore rupees. More from our correspondent.
With the approval of this proposal's cumulative sanctions of houses under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban Mission has achieved milestone of more than 90 lakh houses against the validated demand of 1.12 crore. A total of 10 states participated in the Central Sanctioning and Monitoring Committee. Under PMAY, it is proposed to build 2 crore houses for urban poor, including economically weaker sections and low-income groups in urban areas by 2022. Government also aims to provide an environmental safe and secure Pakka house to every rural household by 2022. Anupam Mishra, AIR News, Delhi.
In Uttar Pradesh, torrential rain from last few days has thrown normal life out of gear in many districts. Met Department has forecast heavy rain in eastern and western parts of the state during the next 24 hours. A report.
Many parts of the state, including capital Lucknow, are witnessing torrential rain from last 24 hours. throwing normal life out of gear and affecting road traffic badly. Reports of waterlogging on streets and bylanes, disruption in power supply, roads caving in, and falling of trees are coming from many districts of the state. In Gorakhpur, Sitapur, Kushinagar, Varanasi and Lucknow, it's raining continuously from last few days. At many places, schools have been closed, although major rivers are receding now, but there is no relief for flood victims in low-lying areas. At least 11 people have lost their life in rain-related incidents in last 24 hours. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
The Met Department has predicted heavy rainfall in 19 districts of Bihar, including Darbhanga, Muzaffarpur and Samastipur today. A red alert has been issued in view of heavy rain. In hockey, India beat Belgium 2-0 in the opening game of the three-match series in Antwerp, Belgium last night. Mandeep and Akashdeep scored the goal in the 39th and 54th minute to seal the match in India's favour. The second game of the series will be played tomorrow. In badminton, ace shuttler Parupalli Kashyap will take on Jan O. Jorgensen of Denmark today in the quarter-final match of the Korea Open men's singles. In pre-quarter-final match, he defeated Malaysia's Darren Liu 21-17, 11-21, 21-12 in South Korean city of Incheon. And now for an overview of today's newspapers, it's over to Sarabjit Kaur.
Thank you, Anuja. The Ayodhya hearing deadline to be intact and the G4 countries pushing UN General Assembly for early reforms are the top front page stories in all the dailies today. It will be miraculous if we deliver judgment in 4 weeks, states the pioneer, quoting CJI. The Indian Express mentions the Election Commission's call, voters left out of NRC will not be called doubtful, can vote. IPS officer Mirza nabbed as CBI makes first arrest in Narendra case, states the Asian Age. This year's monsoon retreat said to be most delayed in 60 years, cites the Times of India. An Economic Times headline states, Centre focusing on judicial system to speed up settling of disputes to boost ease of doing business. And finally, help is at hand. Now ship your excess air baggage, have it dropped at your doorstep with a fraction of fee, reports the Hindu Business Line. And with that, it's back to you, Anuja.
Thank you, Sarabjit. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address 74th session of UN General Assembly in New York this evening meets Iranian President Hassan Rouhani. BRICS nations strongly condemn terrorism in all its forms. Call for early adoption of Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism. Filing of nominations for assembly elections in Maharashtra and Haryana to begin today with the issuance of notification. Centre approves construction of 1.23 lakh more houses under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana urban. And in hockey, India beat Belgium 2-0 in opening game of three-match series at Antwerp in Belgium. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.